This conference will now be recorded.
Hi Vamsi, good morning. Hi Srinath, good morning. Uh,
Good morning, sir.
yeah, Vamsi. So as I got inputs from the JSRE, so you are joined today, right? So have you gone through the any recording videos previously?
No, no, Chandra.
Okay. So right now we have done total 4 classes till date. So that means like
Okay.
introduction of the what is cloud computing and how to get the CPI trial in it and how we can implement the first integration flow from a HTTPS sender to a target receiver. So that is the discussion we have done from the last 4 sessions. So you can, so they will provide some of the recording sessions with you. So if you, so you can go gone through it. If you have any queries in it, we can separately connect on. I mean this Sunday. Okay.
Okay.
So in that Sunday session, I will explain about all the so what are the points you miss, and I will also start introduction from what is CPI and cloud computing, and also how we can get the trial in it, and I will explain about all the things. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Vamsi, you have a so can you please introduce yourself? How many years of experience you have, or else you are fresher? So can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Chandra. This is Vamsi. I'm from ECE background. I am fresher to this field.
Okay, whichever it is you passed out.
I'm passed out of 2019 batch.
Okay, okay. That's enough. Okay. Got it. Okay, got it from so you can go through that recording videos. So we can connect on Sunday. We can discuss more what are the missing points from the last 4 sessions. Okay. So let's
Okay.
before starting the session, Srinath and Arun, are you able to access the trial tenant and start working on it? I hope, right?
Yes, actually, yesterday the record I didn't receive Chandra.
So the yesterday recording is not yet uploaded, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
what I want to do is like whenever the class is completed, if you upload it on same day, so that we can able to do some practice. Otherwise, it
Yeah, yeah,
will
sure.
be
I will check them. So mostly they will upload yesterday. So Vasu from so he will upload the videos. So I will check with them today. Okay. So
Okay.
any
Sir,
queries from Srinath?
sir,
Yeah, someone is on.
sir,
Yeah.
while I'm creating account, the mail did not receiving an account, sir.
Sorry, Srinath. You did not receive
Any message from the account, sir? SAP
any
account
message.
getting access while
Yeah,
I'm
like it
creating
is
account.
saying. Okay, it
It's
is
not showing
saying
to
we send. Okay, can
uh,
okay. Are you in system? Are you open that environment like BTP cockpit and all?
yes, sir.
Okay. So I will make you as a presenter. You can share your screen. So based on that, we can clear your query. Okay. So I am making you as a presenter now. So you can share
Okay,
your
sir.
screen now. Yeah.
Okay.
You can share your screen, Srina.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you please share your screen? I already given. Yeah. Yeah. Now it is started. Yeah. So check your email and finalize your SAP account. So you have not received any email, right? So here in the C, the
Yes, sir.
email was sent to, so in the below email, it is clearly saying, right? So you are logging with that email ID, right? Can you please check it is any error in the
Yes, sir.
email which you entered? So this is
Sir,
correct
first I
one
has
or
been
you
tried
made
to
any mistakes?
another mail. Sir, hello,
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
hello.
So here you can see. So this is the correct mail ID you are logging into, right? So can
Yes,
you
sir.
please copy this mail ID and you can check your is there any? mistakes in that? So it should send
No,
actually.
sir.
It should send.
Did not get, sir. I tried another mail
Okay.
account, sir. Another.
Okay. Mm, so or else can you please check in spam? So sometimes the messages will go to the spam
Okay, sir.
folder. Yeah, you can check in a spam. If you are not getting, we can connect after this session and we can check it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So
No,
let's.
sir. Not getting,
Okay.
sir.
I'm. Yeah. Sorry. You are able to
Sir,
log
I did
into
not receive
BTP
any
Cloud.
mail from the account.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Rina. So you can check in a spam folder. So after this session, we will
Sir,
complete
in
this
spam
session at
folder, I did
around.
not receive any mails.
Yeah, you have not received. We will try to register again. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's start today's session. So today we will discuss about the architecture of CPI. We already done this one, right? So like first integration flow, how to create and how to deploy this one, right? So let's start today with a CPI architecture. So before discussing about the CPI architecture, so we created the integration flow first, right? So just give me a second. Let me open the architecture diagram. So this is so let me start presenting. So here, so this is the so we already discussed about these points, right? So now the CPA architecture. So actually, so here you can see you already know what is SAP HANA Cloud Account, right? So what is SAP HANA Cloud Account means BTP Cockpit account. So what is BTP means? So this is the BTP Cockpit account. So let me log into this. So whenever the terms and conditions updated, they will ask for this statement. Otherwise, we will not get this one. Okay, it was session expired. Let me log into the BTP cockpit. So if I wanted to open BTP cockpit, you know the steps, right? You can click on BTP cockpit and you can search for that one. So now see, you can click on sign in. Mhm. So a trial home. So this is our BTP cockpit. So inside of the BTP cockpit, so here inside of the BTP cockpit, we have a tenant. So what does mean by tenant? Tenant means so at the cloud, in the cloud spaces, they are giving they are
Sir,
giving some space, right? Yeah.
sir,
Someone is
increase
asking.
the screen size, sir.
Yeah, sure, Srina. Okay. So so okay, presenting. So this one. So now it is good, right? So here you can see. So this is the HANA Cloud account. We already this is about like a BTP cockpit. So this is called as a BTP cockpit. So now this is tenant management node and then runtime node. So here inside of that we have tenant, right? What is tenant means? So in cloud they are allocating some space to the our CPI tenant, right? Our CPI account, for our CPI account they are providing some space at the cloud, so in the cloud environment. So that space is called it as a tenant actually. So that space is called it as a tenant, CPI tenant. So what is tenant management node and what is runtime node? So see here, forget about these remaining options, just focus on these 2 points like a tenant management node and then runtime node. So what does mean by tenant management node is, So whatever the objects you created yesterday, so yesterday we created this integration flow, right? So we designed this integration flows. So like we created the package, and we created class 10. So this is our class 10, right? So here we created our package, and we also created this uh, artifact. So we also created this invoice mail class 10 artifact, right? So in this one, so here you can see in this one, if you observe, whatever the changes we made first, we are just saving it. So that means when you are creating any objects, it will maintain by the tenant management node. So the tenant management node will maintain the all the artifacts. So artifacts means the integration flows, packages, REST APIs, SOAP APIs, whatever it is, it will maintain all the artifacts inside of the tenant management node. So what is runtime node? So what is runtime node? So actually the use of tenant management node is to maintain all the artifacts and to maintain the runtime node as well. To maintain the runtime node as well. So that means by using this tenant management node, we can start and you can stop and stop the runtime node. So that means tenant management node will manage the runtime node. So this is just a architecture. So like a tenant management node. No, so when you got a question like what is tenant management node means, so tenant management node will maintain all the artifacts and it will manage the runtime node. It will manage the runtime node. What is runtime node? So actually we are just creating the artifacts in a tenant management node. So once you click on deploy, this integration flow will deployed in a managed integration content. You already know, right? So here this will this will deploy at a runtime. So here whatever we deploy, so it will deploy in the runtime. So this is started, right? So whatever it is started, it is running at the runtime node. So runtime node, so what is the difference between the so why we are using runtime node and why we are using this tenant management node? You have some idea. So here tenant management node will manage the artifacts creation and all the things. But coming to the runtime node, it will actually connect with the sender system and then receiver system. So once we deploy the integration flow, it will connect with the sender system and then receiver system. So once the sender sends the, so forget about load balancer, I will explain about it later. So here the sender, so here this is sender, right? The whenever the sender triggers the data will come to the CPI once it is deployed. So once the integration flow deployed successfully, the sender will send the data to the runtime node. So once the runtime node process, once the runtime node will receive the message, the message processing log will be stored in this service. So persistency service, by using persistency service. So here you can observe, so when I trigger the message, so for example, so we created this class 10 integration flow, right? So here in the message monitoring, in the monitor message processing, so if I check for the last week, so here you can see total 13 messages processed yesterday. So most of the messages are processed yesterday only. So here you can see 13 messages. So this means this message was processed on April 5th 2023. So that means, so whenever the sender sends the data to CPI, so that will be received by the runtime node. So the runtime node, what it is doing is it is storing. So when it was processed and all the information, the payload and all the information will be stored in a persistency service. So in the message monitoring data and message content, this service it will storing. It is storing. So once it is stored, this will return the data to the receiver. So that means it is sending the information to the receiver here. So why we are connecting with the tenant management node to this persistency service? So runtime node is actually generating the message processing log. Message processing log means whenever the sender triggers the data, the message log will be created, right? The count and everything will be created here. So once it is done, it is storing the data. So this time this message got for processed, this message, is got failed, that information will be stored in a persistency service. So now this data, whatever the data is creating by the runtime node, this data will be read by the tenant management node. So see here this data. So here you can see, you are able to see this count, right? So these are the messages. So this is actually whatever we are seeing, whatever you are able to see, that all comes under tenant management node. So runtime node will work in a virtual way. So you cannot see the processing, but you can see the logs. Actually you cannot see the processing, you can see, check the logs. So that logs will be created by the runtime node. We are checking, we are seeing that logs in a tenant management node. So clear now how the message is processing, and how the how we are able to read the message, processing data is clear, right? Any queries here? So the tenant man, so clear definition is, the tenant management node is used for to maintain all the artifacts, and manage the runtime node, and read the message processing log created by the runtime node. So to read the message processing log from the runtime node. So this is the use of the tenant management node. The what is the use of runtime node then? So runtime node will actually process the data. Runtime node will actually process the data from the sender to receiver system, and it will store the message processing log in a persistency service, and it will have a virtual machine at the backend side. So this is about runtime node. So clear, any queries? Clear, right? So this is about a architecture. So what is load balancer? What is load balancer? So for example, in my client, for my client, we have a n number of message processing. So like the sender will trigger like thousands of messages per every minute, or every 30 seconds. So for that, so we will maintain at the CPI side. So in the CPI side, we will maintain multiple runtime nodes. So multiple runtime nodes. So that means only one tenant management node we have, but we will maintain multiple runtime nodes. So that time when we have a multiple runtime nodes, this load balancer will calculate the available time of the multiple runtime nodes. So that means whenever the load balancer will trigger the data, so the sender triggers the data, this load balancer, for example, I have a runtime node 1, runtime node 2. So for example, runtime node 1 is processing 10 messages, runtime node 2 is processing 30 messages. So now runtime node 1 is available, right? 10 messages with the less number of messages it is processing. So then this load balancer will calculate the available time, and it will send to the available runtime node. So that is the reason we are using this load balancer. And whatever we are creating, yeah.
like how the load balancer can act immediately, like how to distribute it messages.
Yeah, like how to distribute it. So the load balancer is a default behavior. So this configuration is separate from SAP CPI configuration. So the load balancer will be configured by BTP administrators. So this is separate server we are maintaining here. So that
Okay,
means how it will calculate your question, right?
right, right.
Yeah. So here we will provide this runtime node. So SAP will provide some runtime node IPs. Actually, IPs means Internet Protocol IPs. So based on that IPs, we will configure that in a load balancer. So the load balancer have a capability to read the runtime node threads. How many threads are running inside of the runtime node? So that means threads means how many message processing are running in a runtime node. So the load balancer had a capability to read the how many threads in active or how many threads are active. So based on that, it will calculate so which runtime node is available. So that means available means which runtime node has a less number of processing. So always runtime nodes will process the messages. But for example, the first node 1 is to processing 10 messages, node 2 is processing 20 messages. So that node 1 is available, right, to process more message than the node 2. So then the load balancer will automatically decide node 1 is available, then we can process the message to the node 1. Like that it will act. So same way the administrators and integration developers will access the tenant management node. So we cannot access runtime node actually. So but sometimes the messages are not processing in CPI, so that means the runtime node is not active. So that time what we have to do is how we can start and stop the runtime node is, so we cannot stop and start the runtime node because it is maintained by the SAP. So when we are getting that type of issues, so for example tenant management node is very slow. So for example it is loading very slow, even you have a best internet connection also, the tenant management node is not loading properly. So then what we have to do is we cannot do anything from our end because it was maintained by SAP. We can create a SAP ticket, so stating that this tenant management node and runtime node is not properly working, so can you please check on it. So then what they will do is they will restart our server. I mean they will restart our tenant management node and then runtime node. That's all.
This load balancer is connected between which component and which component exactly? Between
Yeah,
where and
this
where it is?
component will be connected from the sender to the CPI endpoint URLs. I mean CPI we have separate IP, right? So each
Uh-huh.
CPI IP. So for example, see, uh, so here you can see each endpoint URL. So like if you are using a SOAP adapter, if you are using whatever HTTPS adapter, this IP will be same for all. So whenever we are connecting with this CPI endpoint URL, so it will connect with the this load balancer. So like
Okay.
it will connect with the sender and then this IP. So for example, this is SOAP, right? So see the endpoint, the host is same. The host is same, but internally, so if you observe internally this runtime nodes, multiple runtime nodes have a multiple IPs actually. Got it? The sender will
Got
connect with this IP actually. The sender will connect with this IP, I mean this host. But the load balancer will split this message to the multiple nodes, right? This multiple nodes contains multiple IPs, that means multiple this runtime nodes actually. I mean like this IP will be different for nodes, but the sender will connect with the only one IP address. So that means this one. So that is this one. So if I wanted to get this IP address, how we can get it? Any idea? So I would like to know the IP address of this host.
Yeah, yeah,
How we can
yeah.
get it?
Just like, yeah, by go to runtime command, if we enter that host, now we will get IP address, right?
Yes, in CMD. So command prompt, right? So we have a command prompt. So we have a statement like a ping space. We can paste that value. So see here. So when you are able to connect with that, you will get a if it is a successful. So here you can see this is the IP address of it. So 3.227.182.44. So if you are able to connect successfully, then it will give some information. So for example, say gmail.com. So for example, so that is runtime node, right? So that is the reason we are getting that like that. So here you can say if I want to terminate, you have to click on Control C here. So see, now I click on one. So ping space. So what is I copied here? Mail dot. So see, if you are able to successfully log in, then it will clearly show this IP address. Anyway, even if it is not getting the not connected also, we will get the successful IP address here like this. So this is
That is
about yeah.
that is what we are getting multiple IPs. For the first time when we pinged with the host, we got one IP. Here below one more IP. What does it?
This mean right? This one right?
Uh, uh, uh,
So like so see, we are getting reply from the server actually. Here it is
okay.
request timeout. It is not providing the proper information here.
Okay.
Got it? So request timeout means we are not able to connect this server
Yeah.
from the command prompt. So here you can see when you are connecting with the mail.google.com, we are getting response from the server. So this means this is a successful one. So this is the failure one.
Okay. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So this is the difference. This is failure one. So we are unable to connect properly. So here we are unable to connect properly. So and we are getting the reply from the server as well. So this is about how we can get the IP address of the server. So the next one, mm, so what we are discussing about is this one, right? So this is about a tenant management node and runtime node and then load balancer. Though administrators and integration developers also can work with a tenant management node actually. So this is so here the persistency service is used for to store the message processing data. So let's talk about the theoretical about the tenant management node. So here this is the so so we already discussed about this configuration, these all steps. So tenant management will provide the front end editor where integration developers or administrator perform tasks like deploying artifacts, user creations, and then role management. So like clear, right? So administrators and then developers will log into the system and they will create the artifacts, user creations, and then role management. So the next one is it will organize the runtime node. So I already explained, right? The tenant management node can uh, maintain the runtime node. So that means it will organize the runtime node. So it can stop and start the runtime node. So by using the tenant management node only, the SAP team will start and stop the runtime node. So read the monitoring data created by runtime node. So here I clearly explained that whatever the data it was created by runtime node in the persistency service, it will read the data in the tenant management node in the monitoring phase. So the last one is upgrade of nodes. So for example, tenant, I mean like SAP is providing some updates for the runtime node. So that time we can update the nodes, runtime nodes by using this tenant management node. That update also will be maintained by SAP. The our basis team will not involved here. So for example, in PI previously, if any patch update like a SP service pack from 10 to 16, 16 to 22. So like that, if we wanted to any make any of the patch updates, we have to check with our basis team. The basis team will take care about it. But here, any updates coming to the CPI, any updates coming to the CPI, that will also taken care by SAP itself. So we can we are not using any of the, I mean we are not maintaining any of the upgrades. That is the advantages of cloud environment. So here runtime node, this node manages the message processing, audit log, and then saving the message. So message processing means it will receive the data from the sender and it will process and it will send to the target. Audit log, what are the messages are received from the sender, what are the messages are sent to the, so every audit will be logged here in the runtime node, saving the message. So if I wanted to store the message, we can store the message. That's all. All iflows will be run in the runtime node. So iflows will run in the runtime nodes means whatever the integration flow we are deploying, it will connect with the source and target system from the runtime node only. Internally it has Java virtual machine. So I already told you, right, it is a virtual machine. So it is running on Java. So internally it has the integration runtime engine to connect with the source and target system, and integration runtime engine means to transformate the data or else to route the data to the multiple systems it contains. This will connect with the external system via the load balancer. So external system means the sender system we have, right? So based on the load balancer capability, it is connecting with that. So clear, right? So this is the configuration. I mean, this is the explanation about the CPI architecture. So here, what are all the questions you will get in interview? So they will ask like, what is tenant management node, and then what is runtime node. So mostly this is used for interview purpose only. So in real time, so when you are logging to the system, once you are creating the integration flow and deploy, so that is everywhere everyone can do, but coming to the architecture perspective, we have to know what is tenant management node and then what is runtime node. Tenant management node is managing the all the artifacts, and it will run, it will maintain the runtime node as well. So that means you can, it can organize. So runtime node means it will actually connect with the sender and receiver and message processing and storing the message processing data and message, that's all. So these are the two statements you can simply tell them. So this is about the CPA architecture. Clear? Any queries here? So okay, so that means I hope no questions. So then next, let's go with the our configurations done yesterday. So here yesterday we done the this configuration, but we haven't checked the any of the message processing logs, right? So this is yesterday we created this integration flow. So let me explain. So I haven't explained these configurations in detail, like how it is deployed and all. So see here, actually here you can see it was locked by my name. So like I am only the accessing this tenant right now. So here SAP CPI 098 is locked by name. So you also have the access for the CPI tenant. So you got it, like you also have the access for the CPI tenant. You want to edit this integration flow when it is locked by my name. What is meaning of by locked by? So for example, I started editing this integration flow. So meanwhile I got some other work. I without saving this, I the session was expired. So without saving that, the section was expired. So my changes will be locked by my name. So that means no one can edit this integration flow. So got it? No one can edit this integration flow. So now how we can unlock this? So for example, my shift is completed up to 8 p.m. So after that, some Arun is came. So Arun wants to work on this integration flow. So but I am not available. So how you can unlock this integration flow? So it was locked by my name. So here we have a one option. So that is, let me show you that. So that is a design time artifact logs. So you can copy this integration flow name. So this is class 10, right? So we can filter by the, so at the monitoring page, at the bottom we have a design artifact logs, design time artifact logs. So you can open this and you can filter based on the iflow name. So here you can see we clearly it is saying class 10. So here this is the integration flow. So here, so it was logged by my name, right? So you can release the logs here. So if you have administrator access, then only you can do it like this. Otherwise you cannot do this. We have to check with administrator. Administrator can release the logs. Clear? So now see, let me refresh this page. So now it is locked by, and it is showing this email ID, right? So let me refresh this one. Now we will not get that locked by option. So now see, we are not getting that locked by option. See, it was deployment status only it is showing. So let me delete this now. So now when you're whatever you're saving here, it will store in a tenant management node. So here once I click on deploy, so now I'm saving this. So what I'm doing is now I'm just adding one, I mean like one converter, that is XML to JSON. So XML means this is one of the format of the message. So JSON means that is also one of the format of the message. Sender will send the XML payload and the receiver will receive the JSON payload. How the JSON XML to JSON converter will convert it to the XML to JSON. So this is about this one. Let me see deploy this. So now see, it is showing a started state. So here in the monitoring page also you can check the status here. So let's go to the monitoring overview. So here you can access this monitoring page. So here in the manage integration content we have total 143 integration flows are deployed. So here you can see this is the invoice class 10, right? So it is started here, it is showing started. So what are all the remaining options at the right side here? So here it is deployed on, so it will show you the integration flow name at the top, and this is a deployed on April 6th. So today 9/11 it is deployed. 9/11 4 seconds it is deployed. So the idea of the integration flow, so the idea of the integration flow means while you are creating the integration flow, it is also the id is automatically created there. So even if the id also matching for other integration flow, it will not create. The id is already exist with other integration flow, like that you will get an error. So here this is the package name, so it was there, so this integration flow was available in this package. So class 10 is the package name. So this was deployed by this user, and this is the version of 1.0.1. So here you can see, let's see this. Let me refresh this. We will get endpoint URL here. So here these are the options we have: endpoint, status details, and then artifact details, and then log configuration. So here endpoint means if the sender is connecting with any of the API. So that means like if it is connecting with any of the RESTful API of any of that, so it will. So what it will do is it will provide the endpoint URL to connect with this integration flow. So just it will provide this endpoint URL tab will provide the endpoint URL to connect with this integration flow. So this is a HTTPS, right? So here we are using HTTPS. So that is the reason it is providing this HTTPS endpoint URL. So for example, if I am using SOAP, it will provide the WSDL file and HTTPS SOAP endpoint URL. So this is connecting with the SOAP adapter at the center side. So it is showing the SOAP endpoint URL. So like this it is showing the endpoint URL. So status details. So status details means the second option, this one only. So if the integration flow is running successfully without any errors, this will show the this details actually. So like the integration flow is deployed successfully, like that. So if it contains any errors, so it will show like this. So see in the status details, it will show the error details like this. It will show the error details like this. It will show the error details like this. So next one is a artifact details. So let's go to the artifact. So this is the main point here. So here, what are all the messages processed for this integration flow? If I wanted to check, then you can click on this monitor message processing. So like we just created that integration flow, right? So but we, if I wanted to check what are all the messages processed for that, you can click on that monitor message processing option. So here I cannot see any of the message. Why? Because this log is showing only for last 1 hour. So this log is showing for only last 1 hour. So if I want, you can increase. So let me select for last 24 hours. So if I select last 24 hours, only one message got processed. See at a 9:44 yesterday, 9:44 yesterday, it was only one message got processed. So see, let me check last week, past week. So here you can see total 13 messages got processed. So based on the time, so from time 24 hours, it is processed only one message. So from the last past week, so that means last 7 days, it is processed total 13 messages. So by using that option, you can check the message processing log. Got it? So by using that option, you can check the message processing log of the particular integration flow. Of the
Sir,
particular integration flow. Yeah.
sir,
Yeah, Srinath.
sir, we has been done that account in 1 day now, sir, April 5.
Account, I didn't get your question.
Sir, we has been done that integration flow at a time now, sir, on April 5.
Yes, no, no, no. We created that integration flow at April 5th, right?
Yes, sir.
So we, yes, sir, but the message processing will run in every day. So that depends upon the business case. So for example, see, monitor message processing, right? So it was a past hour, there is no messages. So for example, if I trigger the message for this integration flow for class 10, so let me trigger one message for our understanding. So this is the message. So this is the invoice class 10. So where I'm taking this is, so from here itself. So this is the endpoint URL of this. So let me trigger it. So we deployed this, right? So let me take one XML payload. So to convert it to the JSON. So I have the invoice payload here. I hope. No. Okay, let me check this. So this is the invoice payload I have. So let me paste it here. So this is the invoice payload. So let me trigger the data. So now see, this data is inside of it invoice payload. So now I just trigger the message, right? So this is so now it will show last 1 hour message. One message got processed, right? So you can see one message is completed like this. What it like a deployment is different from the message processing.
Okay, sir.
You deployed the integration flow yesterday, but the messages will, once you deploy the integration flow, that messages will process anytime. So there is no limitation here, that message will process anytime. So for example, let me trigger other message. So I'm triggering other message. So the count of the message will be increased. The count of the message will be increased, two messages now from the past 1 hour. So if I check the past week, total 15 messages will available. So previously it is 13, right? Now 15 messages are processed. So we are implementing this integration flow to process the message from the source to target, right? So here what we are checking is how the messages, so how many messages are going from the source to target system. In the monitoring, the main theme of monitoring is how many messages are processed from source to target and how many messages are failed from while transferring from the source to target. So that is the main intention of the monitor message processing. Clear? Clear, Srinath? Now you got clear idea what is message processing and what is deployment.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah, okay, good, good. So now see, these are the message processor, right? So where we are in checking the artifact details, right? So artifact details. So here monitor message processing, we are done. So here you can check what are all the message processed, you can check. But
Where
the
we
next
see the
one,
payload,
yeah, Varun, yeah, Varun.
payload where we can see.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I will come to that point. So I will come to that point, Arun. Okay. Okay. So in the log state, log configuration, we can find that one. So in PI, when you are working on, so PI is an on-premise tool before CPI. So PI, for every message, the log, so whatever the sender message we are triggering, that will be logged actually. So based on our configuration. So, but in CPI, so based on the log level, it will store the payload based on the log level. So I will explain you after the completion of these 2 points. So let's wait for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes. Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
now, so the monitor message processing is done. So if I wanted to see what are all the messages processed for this, we can check this monitor message processing. But here view deployed artifact. What is the meaning of view deployed artifact mean? So what is deployed artifact? So here you can see, let me see here. I added this XML to JSON, right? Now I'm adding this other option like content modifier here. So content modifier. So now I am just saving this information. See, I just saved. So saving means it will store in where tenant management node. But here you can see this is the view deployed artifact. So I haven't deployed after adding this content modifier. So here you have to think some logically. So I just saved this integration flow. I haven't deployed. So previously, while deployment, it contains only XML to JSON, right? So if I go to the view deployed artifact, what is the deployed artifact in runtime, you can check. So what is the deployed artifact in the runtime, you can check here. So deployed artifact you can check. So right now runtime, what is the integration flow is running, that you can check in a view deployed artifact option. So clear, right? This is the XML to JSON converter. So but if you see in the tenant management node, if I go to the design and if I see this integration flow, it contains content modifier 1, right? So it contains content modifier 1. So how it will, it is why it is not showing here. So actually we just modified this integration flow and we haven't deployed, right? So it will show you the deployed version of previous version. So if I click this option, it will show you the only the deployed artifact. So it will not show you the latest changes without deployment. So if I go to the navigate to edit artifact, so if I want to edit this integration flow, then you can click on navigate to edit artifact editor. If I click on it, navigate to artifact editor, it will show you the latest saved versions as well. Latest saved version as well. So view deployed artifact means it was shown the deployed artifact at the runtime. So now we are checking to edit the integration flow. So now you will get content modifier 1 as well. Got it? Now you got a clear idea on it. So what is the difference between view deployed artifact and then edit integration flow artifact? Go to the edit integration flow artifact. Clear any queries here? So if you have any queries, I will explain again. No issue. But here we will confuse. So here view deployed artifact means deployed artifact, the message or whatever it is run deployed in runtime. There we can see that that configuration. Navigate to artifact editor. If I want to edit this integration flow, then you can go to this artifact editor and you can edit here. So you can edit here. So if you want, you can edit here. So that is the difference between the view deployed artifact and navigate to integration flow editor. So this is about the artifact details. So these are the three artifact details we have. So here log configuration. So what is the log configuration we configured is info. We have total 5 log configurations here: none, info, error, debugs, and trace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Error, info, and debug. So here in CPI, so for example, see, go to the message monitoring, message processing.
Chinta,
In CPI, yeah,
yeah, if you want to revert to previous version, then how can we do here?
yeah, you cannot go to the previous version in the monitoring page. So if I wanted to go to the previous version, we have to go to the design tab here. So here in the design tab, so open that artifact. So here this is the artifact, right? So here we have in a draft state actually. So
Okay.
draft means here it is saved for multiple version. So here if
Okay.
I wanted to go to the previous version, so for example, if I want to go to the first version of this integration flow, so you
Mhm.
can just click on this revert button. So click to revert. So it
Okay,
will
the
easily
top,
jump to
top one is the
1 point,
latest version.
yeah, sorry, 1.0.1 is the latest version actually.
Okay.
So if it is in a draft, all changes, whatever the changes you are doing, that will comes to 1.0.0. Okay.
Oh,
So for
I didn't
example,
get
let's
this.
go. Yeah. So okay. Who is that? Yeah. Let me explain about it again. So see, I'm I'm saving this other version. Now see here, saving as version, and it is added content modifier.
Mm-hmm.
So now see, I would like to go to the previous version of 1.1. So here you can see, so this is 1.2, right? So now I would like to go to the 1.1 here. So you can click on this revert button here. So now it will go to the 1.1. So see, added content modified 2. So that means this is in a different, I mean, it is different actually. So this is the previous version. So let me check that one with the content modified 2. So see here we have, so previously we have what we have, the XML modifier and that content modifier one. Now we have a previous version, two content modifiers. Now you got it?
Yeah, yeah,
Arun?
got it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
So this is
versions
the,
also
so
like on number versions also not in a serial order. I think one is maintaining some separate order, and
yeah,
two is
yeah.
maintaining.
Why? Because why? Because we already reverted it, right? So yesterday I already explained this. So if you see from 1.2 to you again went to the 1.1, right?
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
changes also will shown here actually. So if
Okay.
I
Okay.
revert back to 1.0, so now I revert back to 1.0, right? So now what it will show is, so after 1.1 it will show that revert. So previously I went to the 1.0.1, so now it is showing 1.0.0. So if I go to this 1.0.2, it will show 1.0.2 after the 1.0.0 here. See, it will
Ah,
even it will maintain all the who is went back to the river. So everything will be logged here actually. So when you
okay.
went to the previous version, when you went to the latest version, that all information you can check here.
These versions are like 1.0, 1.01 in real time also, like or else any other numbers
So
we give.
that's so that is a customized. So when you are using, so when you are clicking on this save as version, it will ask for your version number actually. So here you can see you can edit your version name or number, that's up to you.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, that's up to you. That's based on your project naming conventions also. You can maintain that versions actually, like v1.0, v2.0, like that also, like or also one version underscore 01, version underscore 02, like that also you can maintain based
Oh.
on your project landscape. So clear, right, Aaron?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So okay. So now let's go to the log configuration. Once the log configuration, so it might take more than 15 minutes to explain this log configuration. So what does mean by info? So info means, so we have a different log levels. So in info, when I'm selecting info, it will store the data. It will store the message processing. It is successful or failure. That's all. Got it? So it is successful. The message is successful or not. That's all. So here, let me check the deployed version first. What is the deployed version we have here? I hope XML to JSON converter. So based on that, I will process some messages for error as well. So here XML it is expecting. So here it will accept only the XML format, right? So let's check. So for example, see, if I use this info as a log level, it will just store the message successful or failure. If it's successful, it will just provide the message ID and then correlation ID and then successful information. That's all. If the message fails, it will also store the where the message is failed, and also what is the error details it will clearly give. This is about a log level info. So here, let me trigger one message of with the info. So when I'm, so defaultly whenever you are deploying this integration flow, that default option is info only. So here I'm triggering this information now. So it is successfully sent. So now what it will happen is, so it was triggered on 9:31, right? So if I check the message processing at 9:31, one message got processed. See, 9:31 one message got processed. So at the same time, at the 9:32, for example, 9:32, one message failed. So here you can see it will just store the count of the message. That's all. So this message is processed this time, and this is the message ID internally it is created. So this is the log level. So this is the artifact details. So and this is the name, ID, type, and package of the integration flow. So this is the information you will get, just minimal information you will get, but you cannot access the payload. What is the payload triggered from the source to target? You cannot access in the info stage. In the info stage, you cannot access. So let's see, even it is failed. So for example, let me copy this response and paste it into the body. So why I'm pasting this is so to generate an error. So here this is expecting that integration flow is expecting actually XML to JSON converter. So if I provide other information other than, I mean, if I provide uh, other than XML format, it will definitely throw an error. So let's see how we can check the error log. So let me send the data. So I just send the data, right? I will definitely get an error. So here you can see I got a 500 external error, 500 internal server error. So an internal server error occurred, the MPL ID for the message processing IDs. So this is the message ID we are getting as a error response. So you can copy this message ID. Where you can find this message ID is, so here in the message processing log, you can, so you have this message ID, right? So you can copy that message ID. You can go to the monitoring page here. You can go to the monitoring, any monitoring page, and you can find, you can place the ID here. At the right side top ID, you can place the ID and you can click on enter. So now see this message details you got. So this is a failed one. So here you can see com dot, so these are the error details. So if I provide the log state as info, so it will provide the these details. So like processing time is 25 milliseconds, and these are the error details. So due to this error it was failed. So here you can see unexpected character H. Why? Because so for every XML file payload it will start with a less than. So but it is started with what, it is started with H. So due to this it was failed. Unexpected character H in prologue, expected one is less than. So that is the reason it was failed. So in info what you will get is, so here we have, so for error message, so let's see, for the same integration flow we have multiple messages, right? So here you can see it was failed, right? So it was failed. So for info, whenever you are selecting log state as info, for error message it will shown as a hyperlink. So we have a option to check where it is failed. So you can check the where it is failed. Let me open it. So if I click on info, it will navigate to the some graphical view mode, graphical mode. So see the message where it is failing, the sender is triggering the data. If this is the symbol in blue color, it is just received and successful. So if it is in a red color, it is had error inside of it. Got it? It is an error, then it is providing this error information. So here you can just see the message content and log content, that's all. So the log content also it doesn't give some more information other than error information. So here this is the segment one, and mode of step is XML to JSON converter. It is failing at XML to JSON converter. This is the start time, duration 7 milliseconds, description process exchange, and then status is failed, the message status is failed. So here also you can get the same activities. So here also you will get a mostly the internal message processing steps, that's all. So here this is the about info will provide the, whenever the message is failed it will provide the error information. Whenever the message is successful, so just it will store that information. So that's all. So here we have a open text, right? Open text view, everything. So in the open text view means the same information, so like the status, properties, log, artifact details, the same information you can check in a open text view. So that means that will be in a text format like message ID and correlation ID or message status, you can check in a text format. So this is the start time, stop time, overall status, message UID, log level. So this is info, right? So this is attachments false, and here this is the correlation ID, and everything will be you can check. So this is the message ID. So everything you will be checked in a text format. That's all. Other than that, you cannot get any some more like a payload, and everything will not be available in the info state. So next go with the other option. So that is a none option. So here you can see I will go with a none option. So this is the class 10, right? So let's go with a none option here. So here none option. What does mean by none means? So even the message successful, even the message is failure, it will not create any message log here. So see previously last message when it was created. So now the message log is none. So it is created at 9:32. So I am triggering the information to the CPI. So here you can see this is the sender one. So I am also checking the receiver one as well. So receiver message. So receiver this is. So see, let me delete all the messages. For our understanding, I'm deleting all the messages. So no messages are there in a now right now there is no messages in the inbox. So now I'm triggering the information to the target system. So like a CPI, the target here from here the target system is CPI. From there it is a mail server. So now I triggered the data and it was successfully sent. So I am again triggering the data. So total two messages I triggered. So now see at the receiver side, I received two messages successfully. If you see, so see a few seconds ago, two messages got received successfully. So right. So now if I check the count of the messages in CPI, there is no log was created. So see after 9:32 there is no log created. But these messages are processed at what time? At 9:37. At 9:37 these two messages are processed. See if I process other message as well, so there is no log will created in a zip. See only four messages up to 9:32. So that means even the message failed. So for example, see even the message failed. So again I'm changing this information. Now I'm changing control y, right? So I'm changing this information and I'm triggering now. So now I will get error. That error information also will not be stored by CPI. So see it is giving the null value. So previously it is giving message ID. Now it is giving a null value. So that means when you are selecting none as a uh, message log configuration, you will not get the message ID. Just you will so there just the message is processed or not from the source to target, that will the count will not be available in the CPI when you are selecting the none option. Clear? So this is about the info and none. So let's go with the so in none also we cannot see the payload. So let's go with the error stage. So error log level. Let's go with the error log level. So what is the use of error log level? So whenever you have a error in CPI while message processing, only that time that the log information will be generated. Got it? For the successful ones, for the successful cases, it will not store any of the data. So let's check this. So this is the definition. So like error for error log level, message processing logs are created for failure executions only. The logs will be available only for failure execution. So let me open our integration flow message processing. See here, this is our integration flow, right? So let me open the message processing here. So here it was generated at 9:32. So now it is 9:40. Previously, so let's see. So let's run the successful case first. So as of my statement, when you are selecting log level as an error, this log will not be generated for successful cases. So now I'm triggering the information to the target system. So total I'm triggering two messages. So again I'm triggering the message. Two messages I triggered. So these two messages are successfully sent to target system also. So this is the few seconds ago. Few seconds means just I triggered, right? That is the reason it is showing as a few seconds. So now here you can see that log of the message will not available here. For successful cases, when I select error as a log level, For successful cases, this message log will not be generated for successful cases. But if the message is failed, if the by any chances, so if the message is failed, so now I'm changing this format to the XML to normal. So if I change the message, if I send the message, so you will get some message ID as well here. So now you can see that log will be created here. So see, it was failed here. So now got it. So when you are selecting error, only the message log will be created only for error cases. So total 3 times I trigger, total at 940 to 941, total 3 messages are failed. 3 messages are failed. So again I'm checking for a successful one. So now see, no log will generate for successful cases. So see, I got 200 successful response. So see again 942, I hope 941 only. So total at the 941 total 5 messages are, I mean total 4 messages are failed here. 1, 2, 3 messages are failed. It was at 932. Clear? This error will store this whenever you are selecting log level as error. It will store only whenever the messages are failed. So but in this also you cannot see the payload here. So in this also you can see the error information here. If I click on this error information also, you cannot see the message content here. So see, there is only the integration flow mode and then log content. So only the log content and message content. So this is the way you can use the
Now you
error.
trigger successful message, no Chandra. That for that should not show, right? But the successful message is not visible, no?
Yeah, for whenever you are selecting log level for successful message, log level as error, the successful message log will not be appear for error one.
Okay, got it.
For error
And
log no.
for this payload, we cannot see all these errors and successfuls.
So for none info error debug you cannot see the payload. Only for trace you can see the payload. So one
Okay.
by one I'm going, right. One by one we are going. So this is all about based on the different types of requirements. So for example, in real time, we are sending some bank information. So that bank information will not, even it is failed, even it is successful, that should not be read by SAP CPA developer. That message processing log will not be created in SAP CPI. So then what you will do? Then go with a none. That's all. So if you wanted to know the how many messages are successful and how many messages are failure, but for particular interface, then you can go with the info. So when you have a, if I wanted to know what are all the only error messages, I would like to know only the error count of the message. Successful you can ignore. From CPI perspective, successful we can ignore. Only I have to handle the error message for particular interface. You can select the error one. So debug and trace will use for, so debug will also not provide the payload. So I'm stating that debug also will not provide the payload. So let me make the debug. So see, debug will automatically go to the previous version. So debug will store the uh, some large data, how the steps are going. So internally what are all the properties created, what are the headers created, that will store this message debug state. So after 24 hours, so this is 944, right, when I trigger the, I mean when I change this debug. So tomorrow at the April 7th, today 6th, right, so April 7th it will automatically change the value to the 944. 944, it will automatically change the data to the 944. So like what it will change is, it will change from a debug to error state previous whatever it is. So previously info to debug, if I come, it will automatically switches back to the info. So now let us test the data with the debug state. So let me trigger now. So this is a successful run, right? So now it will, let me check this payload, I mean let me check the debug state. So see now This is the invoice period just we triggered. So let's go to the debug stage. So now it is successfully send the message to the source to target. See, the successful one will shown like that. So here in the debug state also you will not get a clear idea. So here we can get this log information under properties and activities. That's all. So other than that, you will not get any of the information in a debug state as well. But when you have some error, it will create some attachments like a HTTP request, HTTP response. You will get some more details why whenever it is was failed. So here, for example, control get. So now this is the information. So let me send this information. So now it is error, right? So let me check the error details now. So now it is failed. So let's go to the debug state now. So see, you can guess just get the details uh, to read the whatever the error it is. So that is the use of debug. So debug just it will give the error details. That's all. And also properties. So what are all the properties it was created and these activities. Other than that, it will not provide the any of the information here. So but coming to here, you can see whenever the message fail in the debug, you will get this so message error information here. So it will also work like most like info state only. But here you will get some more details like so whenever it is failed at the receiver side of HTTPS or the receiver side of mail, it will provide some headers actually. So like attachments it will provide. So right now it is not providing. So in whenever we have that particular scenario, I will show you in the debug state. Okay. So let's state the let me take the last one with the trace option. So just a second. Let me name. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm back. So now see, let's I enable trace, right? This trace will be available for only 10 minutes. So it is 10 minutes, right? Why it is 10 minutes meet? I will explain. So this will again go back to the debug state after 10 minutes. So let's see, let me trigger the message now. So let me trigger the successful case now. So now see, only in trace you can find the payload. So let's see the message log now. So let me refresh this now. So here you can see this is the trace. Now you can see this is the trace we enable, right? Let me click on trace now. So now let me click on trace. So here you can see what is the data we triggered from the sender one. So here you can see. So now you can see the message content option. So when you are checking, when you are selecting log level as a log level, I mean log level as a trace, so log level as a trace, then you will get the message content option. So see, now I selected a HTTPS, right? Now you can see what is the triggered payload from the sender and receiver. So here you can see two options here, 1 and 2. So here you can see the two options, that is 1 and 2. So uh, So the second one is a request payload. So message before sender pay adapter. So here you can see what are all the properties, what are all the headers, what are the payload. So you can check clearly here. So you can check the payload clearly. So if I wanted to know the what is the response payload, you can check this response payload as well here. Just a second. I'm getting call. See here, you can check the response payload as well. So what is the XML payload? So if I wanted to know what is XML to JSON converter input, so see here, this is the input of a XML to JSON converter. So after execution of XML to JSON, it will send the data to the end message. So here you can see the steps one by one here. So see XML. So XML to JSON, we got a input as a JSON payload. I mean XML payload. XML payload. So once it is done, it will send the data to the end message, right? So end message contains in the JSON format. So sometimes you will get this errors, no issue. So here you can see. So let me refresh this once. Just a second, it is not behaving as expected. So let's go back to the message processing in another tab and open the trace message. And let me open the trace now. So now see it is showing as expected. Okay, good now. So let's see for if I check for the end message, it will contain the JSON payload. So now see the payload is converted to the JSON payload. So here it is storing headers. So headers and properties I will explain about later. What is headers, what is properties. So just focus on it is storing every step. It is storing these headers, properties and then payloads separately. So here you can see if you want to download the payload, you can download by using this option. So this is the data we are sending to the mail adapter finally. So this is the actually generated to the end message. So this is the data we are sending to the target system. So see, hi team, please find the invoice data below. So this is the data we are sending to the target system.
So every
So
time we can see
yeah,
this way only, before transformation, after
yeah,
transformation.
yeah. After sorry, I'm
Before
not clear with you.
transformation, after transformation messages, we can see in this way only, right? For each
Yes,
message.
yes, yes, right.
Okay, and one thing,
Yeah,
Chandra, like
yeah,
every integration, every interface will have what kind of flow? I mean, what kind of mode? Now you told like one is error
yeah,
mode in the
right. That depends upon our business requirement. Most of the integration flows will follow InfoLab.
info only. Okay.
Yeah, info. So but you have some idea a question like so how we can store the payload if I my requirement is I would like to store the payload for every message, so that we
Uh-huh.
have to go for custom one. So this trace option will used whenever we are getting some errors. This trace option will be used uh, for only 1 hour. So even it is storing the data, it will have only within 1 hour. And also this log level after 10 minutes, this log level will go to the previous log level within 10 minutes. So see, this trace to debug will be done within 10 minutes. I activated this at 9:48. Now
Uh-huh.
after 9:58 it will go to the previous log, because the trace is generating more data here. So for this step it is storing, for this step it is storing, every step it is storing. So it might increase the database at the backend side. That is the reason the trace level will be go to the previous log level within 10 minutes. If you want to increase this data from 10 minutes to 1 hour or something like, you can check with SAP, they will change this time period. So but the recommendation is not correct to use a trace in the production system. If I wanted to
Okay.
trace a error, then it is good, because for tracing the, so where it is failing, that information you can check with the trace level. How the message is transforming, that information you can check here. But coming to, if I wanted to store the data for each and individual message, then we will go for a custom one. I will explain that in the next classes. Okay. So this is about a log configuration. So we deployed this integration flow by using this deploy option. So if I wanted to undeploy this integration flow, then you can use this option by undeploy. So here at the top we have undeploy. So once it is if I click on undeploy, it will automatically stop the integration flow, and it will remove from the runtime node after few seconds. Got it? So this is
Okay.
about the monitoring and the log level. So this entry will not be available after few seconds. Here you can see it is stopping actually. So if I refresh multiple times, this entry will be deleted from here. So this is about the endpoint, status details, artifact details, and then log configuration. So this is about this one. So you can practice from your end after deployment. So if you have any queries, we can discuss tomorrow class. Okay?
Yeah, share yesterday's and today's record.
Yeah, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I will check with that. So you can check with them whenever they are not uploading the video. You can ping
Okay.
them. Maybe they created in group chat, right? I hope.
And
So
is there
if they
any
are not
document?
created, yeah, yeah. If they are not creating the group chat, you can directly check with Emacs team. So they will upload the video. Okay.
Okay, sure. And is there any
Yeah.
documentation, Chandra, for this classes? Like what are you saying?
Yeah, I will show you. So each and every documentation will be provided by SAP itself. I will show you in the next class how we
Not
can get the
not that one. Actually, you will be preparing some documentation, right, for this
No,
explanation.
no, I will not provide any of the documentations. So just I will provide the interview questions. That's all. The documentations will not be provided for these configurations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any material, such kind of things?
Not required, Arun. Not required actually. So whenever you are using whatever the option we require, so we directly the SAP itself is providing this option, right? Help symbol. So you can go through this document, you can check it wherever you have questions. So that the concept of this sessions means, I mean, like this SAP CPI classes, just to know all the configuration steps and how to configure. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go through the SAP documentations. They will provide a clear information on it. So we'll connect tomorrow. I have a call at 10 actually. So if you have any queries, we will discuss tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So, thank you, Srinath. Thank you, Vamsi. Thank you, Arun. Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.